Hello, everyone, and welcome back to my channel. I already recorded 10 minutes of this and realized I did not press record. Today, I'm going to be talking about my review for the new Scream 7. Now, I was a little hesitant to see this movie because the trailer did not sell me, which really disappointed me because I love Scream. It's one of my favorite franchises ever. But I will say this movie really surprised me. However, just like everybody else, the ending was not good. It was very confusing, but I'll save that towards the negatives. And as always, I will start with the positives. But before I do get started, there will be spoilers. And of course, my name is Connie, and I like to yap about movies on YouTube. If that interests you, please hit that subscribe button if you want to see more of my content. And if you don't, that's okay too. All right, so let's start with the positives. The opening scene. The opening scene was really good. I thought it was a good mix of funny and scary. And I really liked the characters. I forget their names already, but Jimmy and Michelle, they are the actors who play these characters. Jimmy, of course, is funny, and Michelle seems like the scared girlfriend. She doesn't really enjoy scary movies like her boyfriend does, but she agrees to go to the Stu Macher's Airbnb, which is a stabbed themed house, and the original, of course, Stu Macher's home, which is a really good idea, but kind of whack. All these kids got murdered there. Now it's an Airbnb, but besides that, but what I really like about this scene is that we get to see more of the first floor. Not a lot, but we get to see the bathroom a little bit. I know that's very weird, but they travel around the first floor more, really adding to the tension. And the motion sensor ghost face was a really good touch because it freaks them out at first, and then they discover that it's just a robot. And then Jimmy gets a phone call from the host as a part of the package deal, and the trivia questions, the basic, what's your favorite scary movie, and answer these questions and you'll live. I thought the trivia questions were more elevated. I know that's odd. Very good questions. Jimmy decides to put on a Ghostface costume and scare his girlfriend. And yeah, she punches him in the face and realizes it's just her boyfriend playing a prank. And then they noticed that the motion sensor Ghostface was not moving right, and it's the killer. I will say the killers in this, well, this particular killer, the kills in Scream 7 are brutal. People say it's the most brutal Ghostface ever. And I've been thinking back to all the kills, and I will say that this Ghostface is brutal, and the kills are very different, more innovated, I would say. Now, Jimmy gets a knife through his head. We literally see the knife go through his eyeball. That was pretty gnarly. And then, of course, we see Michelle get murdered off like we do in the trailer. However, she does survive that stab. He sets her on fire along with the house, which was just sad to see because she could have lived, but there's no way she would have survived being lit on fire. So overall, not a bad opening scene. Is it my favorite in the franchise? Probably not. I think it works for this film, although it's a little bit confusing as to why they would burn the house down. Another positive is Sydney's return. I really like where she is at in this movie. We see a lot of Sydney in this, which was really refreshing to me because Sydney is a beloved character and I didn't want them to mess it up, and I don't think they did. The only thing that was a little bit confusing to me is why she wouldn't talk to her daughter more about her past life. With Laurie Strode in Halloween 2018, she went the extreme route preparing Karen for Michael's return, ended up having her losing custody of Karen. Whereas with Sydney Prescott, she didn't really talk to Tatum about all her trauma. But Tatum is aware because everybody is obsessed with her mom. There's movies, books, Dateline 2020. And so she knows everything, but I think she wants to have a deeper conversation with her mom, on a human level, connect with her mother. And I think Sydney might have a hard time with that. She's very closed off. But again, Sydney lost her mom when she was 16. And as someone who has lost a mom and is now a mother, motherhood after the point where your mom passed away at, it's hard to know what to do in certain situations because you don't know, you weren't parent by your mother after that age. So it's like, what would my mom do? Or maybe you're just unsure. With Sydney, I thought she would have that conversation with her daughter and talk to her more, but in this, she doesn't want to. Another thing with Sydney that I liked is her husband, Mark. Now, I was surprised by the casting. We were all hoping that Patrick Dempsey would return as Mark Kincaid, but he did not sign on to do this project because of the California wildfires, which is understandable. And I like Joel McHale. For me, I was just worried about their chemistry, but the chemistry was there. They were very sweet with each other. The sparks were still there, and I think to me it worked. And the mystery has been solved because Sydney's two little girls exist. The Tatum timeline did not really get explained, and if it did, I missed it. But with Tatum, this whole movie made it seem like she was a killer. I don't know if they just did it that way, but if you watch the movie, there's a lot of holes with her alibi to me. It ends up she's not the killer. But I was really surprised with Tatum's character. I didn't think I would like her based off the trailer, but honestly, she was phenomenal in this. Mother-daughter dynamic between the two was believable. It was interesting to see Sydney as a mother. Another positive is Ghostface. He was the most ghost-like in this movie. The way he moved around, and again, the kills were innovated. McKenna Grace, everybody thought she would be the killer in this because of that blue plaid skirt, but she got killed off first, I think. She was killed off very quickly, and I was really surprised by that. Well, the operator was killed first, but there was a scene at Tatum's theater, which was a cute touch because Sydney used to do theater, and Tatum didn't even know her mom did theater. Why wouldn't Sydney tell her about that? But Ghostface is at the theater, and McKenna is practicing her uh, harnessed little dance thing where she's flying in the air, and Ghostface messes her up. You know, she's flying in the air, she's bumping into things. You know, that harness, it hurts. But she's dangling in the air, and he comes over and stabs her multiple times. And the way she was positioned was super eerie. I want to talk about the characters before I get into the Stu Macher aspect. So the characters in this movie, I was surprised that I ended up really liking all the characters except for the killers. I really liked all of Tatum's friends, and I didn't think I would, but they were all likable, and they all had a certain thing to them. I didn't think I would enjoy them, but I really did. Now, for the big how is Stu Macher going to return? I don't know if it's a positive. Uh, the way he returned to this, I was a little bit worried with the meta AI stuff, and they said it would be involved in this movie. However, it didn't look like AI to me the way they brought it into this film, but it's supposed to be shown as AI. So Sydney is at her coffee shop that she's running, and she gets a call from Ghostface talking about, you know, what he's up to. He's returned. And Sydney, she's used to all these prank calls, so she's just having fun with this. Uh, she's been through it. And it's just funny to see that she is giving these people the time of day. I think she finds it funny. But then she quickly realizes that this is the real business. And she gets a FaceTime call. Now, on her computer. And I wasn't expecting it. I thought she was going to Google search the fires at Stu Macher's house. So all of a sudden, Stu Macher, Matthew Lillard, appears on the screen and he is messed up with all of his scars. And he's Stu Macher. He's talking to her. And I was like, what the fuck? I wasn't expecting that. And I was like, "Oh my gosh, Stumacher is FaceTiming Sydney like, he's back." And it just took me by surprise because it happened so quickly into the movie. Matthew, he knows Stu like the back of his hand, and it felt like Stumacher, but the way he ended the phone call, he's like, "Bitch." It was so funny, and it was a little bit cheesy, but I really enjoyed it. Throughout, she would get phone calls from him, and eventually we would learn, sadly, that it was just AI. It wasn't the Stu Macher, which I was a little bit disappointed in. I would have loved to have seen Matthew Lillard appear in the flesh, but I guess test audience didn't like that, and I just want to talk to them for a second, just outside. We need to have a chat. But they went a different route. Another positive, Mindy and Chad are back, and I thought the way they brought them back was cool and interesting. They're a part of Gail Weathers' team, and again, they're just so funny. They bring something to this franchise. It's like a cup of Randy. I just love Mindy and Chad, and I just love that you can't take them out. They are very self-aware. Gail in this was needed because she would run over the first Ghostface, and again, it happened quickly in the movie, and everybody was a little bit confused, like, okay, so we killed the Ghostface killer. That's it? Like it's some random guy? What was his motive to hurt Sydney and her family? Because this was after a chase scene where he runs outside and Gale runs him over. Now, the chase scenes in this were really good. There's a chase scene at Sydney's house that was executed very well, where Sydney and Tatum are in her safe room. They go through a wall. It's that scene in the trailer. Again, executed well. They run outside. That's where Gale runs over the first Ghostface killer, who ends up being a patient at the psychiatric facility a couple hours away. And we see Tatum's theater director in the crowd with the media and people watching. And I don't know why they would show him because he is not one of the Ghostface killers reveals. I was a little bit confused as to whose character was. What was he doing here? Was he just a red herring? But another positive, including the chase scene, is the bar scene. That scene was so good. Such a good chase scene. There's multiple kills in it. The tension was there. It's in the kitchen, it's in the bar area. People are smashing through glasses. So good. I don't want to give too much away because you have to see it. And the kill in that was probably the best, one of the best in the franchise. Insane. And we do see Mindy and Chad get wounded, but again, they make it out alive, which I'm happy about. And then Tatum, there's a chase scene with her. She's running through town. She ends up at Sydney's coffee shop where the ghost face knows the code, which was confusing. There's a scene where Gail and Sydney go to the psychiatric facility and they're talking to Ethan's character, where he explains that Matthew Lillard, Stu Macher, his name is John Doe because he has amnesia and he was friends with the guy that just got ran over by the car. So now they're thinking that Stu Macher is alive and his paperwork is missing from the morgue, which adds to our suspicions that he is alive. However, he is not, unfortunately. Which means that Ethan is one of the Ghostface killers that is revealed at the end. Now, for the negative, the big negative is the killer's reveal. It was Ethan's character, which when he unrevealed his mask at the end, where he is Tatum, Casey Becker boyfriend styles, what was his name, Steve? Sydney comes to save her daughter, and then he gets her husband out from the garage where he was stabbed earlier. Like, we thought he died, but he's still alive, which I'm happy for Sydney. The guy reveals himself as one of the killers, and I'm like, okay, what's your motive? Like, I'll give him this one, talk buddy. And then he reveals that there is another killer, and it was revealed to be the neighbor. So she killed her son. Well, it could have been the other guy, her boyfriend. And as they're explaining the motive, I'm like, this doesn't make any sense. It's very confusing to me. You love Sydney, you look up to her, but now you have to kill her? And you revealed that you killed your husband and you killed your son because he was like your abusive ex-husband, and she was a fan of Sydney's book, and they went to Pilates. It was just a mess, and it did not make sense. Eventually, Tatum is freed after her dad cut the tape, and eventually they shoot both of them in the head, both Ghostface killers. Sydney and Tatum literally blow off Anna Camp's face, and it was insane. Now, as for the other characters' return, we get to see Roman again, Billy's mom, which I was not expecting, David Arquette. I feel like I'm missing one more person. But when she gets to the house before she discovers Tatum on the porch, they're all on the screen and it's all AI characters. But I could tell that the actors really performed this out and it wasn't truly AI. It didn't look like AI to me, but it's supposed to be AI to Sydney. So I'm really happy that it didn't look too fake, to me at least, because I was worried about the whole AI thing. But I guess the AI in the movie was to mess with Sydney, to get in her head, using all of these past characters that could mean something to her in a good or bad way, to torment her, because we're at that age in life on this planet where AI can fuck with people's minds, make you believe what you're seeing is real. So I guess that's what the movie was about with the AI thing. So I'm not mad about that because I thought it was going to be something crazy. They're going to AI everybody in. I was pleasantly surprised with what they did with how they introduced AI into the franchise because it is a big part of the world now. But overall, I thought Scream 7 was really good up until the killer reveal because that fell flat. My camera died. But overall, again, I really liked Scream 7. I thought the kills were super innovative. I thought the chase scenes were intense and they were terrifying. The movie, again, had comedic moments in it. I really enjoyed Sydney in this. We got a lot of her, which was needed, and it felt like Sydney in this. I guess that's my problem with Halloween 2018 is that it didn't really feel like Laurie to me until Halloween Ends, because I really liked Laurie in Halloween Ends. But it's just sticking to Scream 7, it just felt like Sydney, and I really liked that. I was rooting for her. I really liked all the characters minus the killers. I liked all of Tatum's friends. I liked Tatum. I liked Joel McHale's character. I liked that we got to see Stu Macher in some form. I really hope if they do an 8 and follow Tatum's journey, because I think that's what's going to happen. It's going to follow Tatum in her journey, maybe into college, just like Sydney. I hope they do it in a different way, though, if they choose that route. But I do hope Stu Macher can return. I'd be okay with that. I think Matthew Lillard deserves more love, and I'm happy everybody is hyping him up because he is a national treasure. Is it the best in the franchise? No, because you can't beat out 1. I'm a weirdo, and I really like Scream 3. That's probably my number 2 favorite. And maybe I will do an updated ranking the franchise, but I like all of the Screams. I will say 4 is not my favorite, which I know a lot of people love 4. Yeah, I'll probably do a video where I rank the franchise again. Is it a perfect film? No. But I really enjoyed it for what it was, and I had fun with it. But I can understand if people were super disappointed with it. because that reveal was harsh. It was bad. But I can get over it. I truly can get over it because some of the other killer reveals, their motives weren't strong either. But this is by far one of the worst. By far one of the worst killer reveals. Yeah, let me know what you guys thought of Scream 7. Did you like it? Did you dislike it? Did you like the killer reveal? If you did, I think you're the only one. All right, as always, please stay safe out there, and I will see you guys soon. Bye-bye.